You're listening to the Ask Drone U podcast. You ask, we answer your drone questions. Whether you're here to turn your passion into profit or you simply fly for fun, we're a community of learners and teachers who aspire to achieve greatness. We are
Drone U.
Hey everyone, welcome to another awesome episode of Ask Drone U. My name is Paul, and I'm here with Laura Powers from the Powers Hour podcast, as well as the Healing Powers podcast, who's here to talk to us about how we can stay healthy when we're out living the drone life. So Laura, welcome to the show.
Thanks so much for having me.
Oh, absolutely. It's actually how do I say it? It's really special to me, and it's important to have you on because as I travel around, so many times do I come home and I'm just absolutely wiped out and exhausted and my health goes to crap. In fact, when I'm out traveling, I tend to burn more calories, but I really don't eat the best food. And I thought it was so important to have someone like you come on and just really showcase to, guys like us that travel, because I know you travel as well, and give us really the tips and the tricks to staying healthy as we're, out and about and traveling.
Awesome. Yeah, this is something I'm really passionate about. I basically travel full time, so I'm on the road a lot, obviously. And I'm also very sensitive. So as a psychic medium, which is how I make the bulk of my income right now, I have to be very careful what I eat. So it's been a process because the way that most people eat when they travel is pretty much like a recipe for getting sick.
Yeah, and I've noticed that too. If your immune system isn't doing really well, the opportunity for bad things is just astronomical. So I know you talk about on your Healing Powers podcast, I've seen a lot of things on your show that talk about nutrition, that talk about, the importance of really staying on top of this while you are traveling. So what do you think is the number one most important thing to do as we're traveling around for a business?
Well, the first thing I'd say is to avoid fast food. And I realize that is very difficult because sometimes that may be one of your only options at an airport. So as challenging as it is, I think it's really important to take the time to make sure that you're going to get what you need. So that's one of the things I've had to learn is I can't just I'll necessarily get something at the airport. Sometimes I can, but check in advance. I also make sure that I go and get healthy snacks. So sometimes it just takes a little bit of planning. So that's, I think, the biggest thing I'd say. And then the other thing is it's tied in with fast food because fast food has a lot of it in it, but to avoid sugar, because sugar is very damaging for the immune system. Even a teaspoon of sugar will suppress the immune system for 6 hours. Wow. So considering most people are having, just that or more in just their coffee, and then they continue to eat more. And by the way, sugar is in things that people don't even expect. So meat in particular from fast food, I used to eat Subway and I'm just giving them as an example that I one time ate them and I didn't feel great. And then I Googled the ingredients of Subway chicken, and they have several different kinds of sugar just in the chicken. So don't assume that your meat, even if you're just getting a salad with meat in it, that it's healthy or without sugar.
Yeah, I mean, it seems like everything is kind of hidden with secret, sugars. In fact, I was just watching, I think it was Penn and Teller's vlog, and he was talking about, I lost 100 pounds because for 2 weeks all I did was eat potatoes, no sugar, no butter, nothing. And it took him 2 weeks to realize how addicted he was to sugar because he had one sip of a soda, I think it was the third week, and he was it was so sweet I couldn't even handle it.
Yeah, you do. Your body adjusts to whatever it is that you're eating, and the body can get very addicted to both sugar as well as artificial sweeteners. So there was a study done in France where they addicted rats to cocaine water. Okay, so these are cocaine addicted rats, and then they gave them the option of sweet water or cocaine water. And these cocaine addicted rats chose the sweet water. In that case, it was artificial sweetener. So yeah, it's more addictive than cocaine based on that study. So, and it just amazes me in our society because it's kind of this accepted thing. And then we hook our kids on it, and it's very damaging in terms of the immune system. Like I mentioned, just a teaspoon of sugar suppresses the immune system for 6 hours, but it also negatively affects the brain, and our ability to think cognitively as well as our memory, etc.
It's funny that you mentioned that because one of my friends said a lot of the internet thought leaders that I've met, and he was talking about Jeff Walker, from the product launch formula, and he was talking about it. I think it was Ryan Dice was the other guy. He's like, they all drink so much soda. He's like, you ever notice that they drink so much soda? There's always like a little soda around. And for me, I was kind of the same way. And I finally realized, like, if I do this, I'm going to consistently add weight. I'm not going to feel well. You know, we slow down in adulthood anyway. So why am I putting this barrier up? So for me, I had to eliminate soda. And now no sugar or cream in my coffee. I just try to get really high quality coffee. And I've been trying that, what is it, coconut MCT oil in my coffee. And that's really been helping me out a lot. So,
yeah. Well, I think one thing we need to look at, which is most people aren't thinking about, is that if you're really hooked on sugar or any addictive substance, that it's really more of a symptom. Like, why is it that you're wanting this kind of to perk up? And there was another study they did where similar to the one in France, but then what they did is they had like those were the rats that were in isolation and basically just living in a cage, living a very boring life. And they made another sort of rat situation that was like a kind of rat paradise. There was like all these tunnels and multiple cages and lots of rats that they could hang out with. And they chose the regular water. So like it's sometimes more complex, but if you're really reaching for sugar or whatever it is that you feel like it's keeping you going, then it's often a sign that we're not paying attention to our bodies or what it is that we want in our life. You know, that basically we're unhappy and fulfilled, and you know, we're trying to boost because of that.
no, it makes a lot of sense. It makes a lot of sense. And if I'm hearing you correctly, I'm hearing this like create habits of not eating sugar, and quickly you'll realize how addicted you are to sugar and how,
Yeah.
I mean, how much you just created these habits through everything. We add sugar to everything. So, okay, beyond sugar, beyond food, what other things have you found to be really beneficial to keep your energy up, to stay focused while you're on the road?
So I think it's important to find that time where you can just relax. You know, for me, I meditate. I do like guided meditations have been really helpful, or even just take a rest, read a book, you know, watch something that you find fun or relaxing. I think if you are on this like go pattern, which is what frequently happens when you're traveling, there's the potential to like burn out your adrenal glands, which is, you know, those are the glands that release adrenaline. And that's when you really often want to reach for the coffee or reach for the sugar, because basically you're depleted and you need energy, and your adrenal glands are no longer able to provide it because they can only go on for so long. Like you can't sustain like that for a long period of time. So one way to do that is make sure you're getting rest, for sure sleeping, but also just some downtime when you're not like scheduled and busy.
So do you use any apps for meditation? Because I've seen other people that, like Tony Robbins in that documentary he just did on Netflix, he has, you know, his phone plugged in. And I know some people like listen to some like instructors where they're like focusing on their breath and they're like, you know, how do your toes feel? How do your hands feel? You know, where you're really focusing on your body. And it probably sounds crazy to a lot of people who are listening to this, but I wanted to have Laura on because I myself have been doing a lot of hot yoga. I've been doing a lot of meditation, and it's saved me from burnout. Like I was about to burn out a few weeks ago, and if it weren't for yoga and meditation, I wouldn't probably be sitting here recording podcasts right now. So
That's awesome. Well, I'm so glad to hear you say that. And I know it's funny, some people think of it as this like, you know, woo-woo, like on the edge thing, but really I think it's just about your mental health and, you know, feeling good. So if you want to feel good, it really helps. So a couple of tips, if you like an app, like if you think that would help you, there's one that a lot of people use. It's called Headspace, and it's not that expensive. I think it's like $10. Another one that I use is not an app, but is Spotify. I mean, it's in the app. There's a guided meditation playlist. So you can you know, if you have Spotify, you can just search guided meditation, and there's basically people have just added it, and there's a bunch on there, Deepak Chopra and a bunch of people, and you can just find the ones that you like. And then if you like, you can make your own guided meditation playlist based on the ones that you like. I like that one. You know, I do Spotify without the ads. Like I pay for it just because, you know, then it doesn't interrupt with like advertising in the middle of what I'm trying to meditate. I have a couple of meditations that are free on my website, and Healing Powers podcast.
How to Ruin Meditation 101 ads on Spotify. You're all zen, and then it's like, come down to PetSmart and get a Kitty City.
Yeah, exactly. There's nothing to pop you out of your meditation than an ad like that. So yeah. I think that's really important. And if you find the idea of even meditating like just too much, I mean, literally just put on some relaxing music. There's lots of, if you just search on Spotify or any other, music streaming site, spa music or something like that, it usually will be just calm. And sometimes that's all we need is that just time to be quiet and just let our mind, clear.
Yeah, no, I totally agree. I think it's important too, when you're doing meditation and you're doing, hot yoga and whatnot, you're slowing yourself down. And when you slow yourself down, you're kind of more relaxed. I feel like you're able to focus more. And for me, I can kind of get into this like flow state, like I call it like the Zen zone, right? Where I can literally do as much work in one day as I could in like 3 hours. So I'm taking 8 hours of work down to 3 just because of the mindset. And it's so hard to get in that mindset. But I wanted people to hear this because for me, what you're talking about has a huge role in being able to get into that flow state and getting more work done. Which it's funny that you've got to like slow down and focus on yourself in order to do more. But it's so true. And I'm sure it's worked for you too.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think it's a similar principle to like exercise. I mean, yeah, well, you might get energy while you exercise. The bulk of the benefit of exercise is when you're not exercising, like it's later. It's the benefits on your body. And it's the same thing with meditating. And I find that a lot of people struggle with meditating because, to be honest, it's hard in the beginning. It's like your brain wants to be busy. If you're kind of addicted to this kind of action and your adrenals are on, it will feel painful almost to stop. Like your mind will almost scream at you to like keep going and stop. And why are you doing this? And that meditating is very much like a muscle, in a way, like a muscle. Like the more you do it, the easier it gets. So at first it'll feel very difficult. But the benefits of meditating are really not about what you experience in that time. They're really about feeling more calm, getting your body in a better place for the rest of the time.
Gotcha. Yeah, I don't even know which way to go from here in this conversation because there's so much that's so important. It's like, how do you really engage people to listen to this? Because it's so important. When you're traveling all the time, it's difficult to work on the systems in your business to become more efficient, so you've got to be hyper aware of your body, your mental state, your ability to be productive, all while you've got your business going on and you're trying to create these more efficient systems. So, all right, beyond meditation, beyond food and nutrition, would you have any other health tips at all for people?
The other one is just staying hydrated and hydrating with good stuff, because again, in our society, a lot of people are having diuretics or food and beverages that actually dehydrate the body. So coffee or anything with caffeine being an example, carbonated beverages. So even if it's sparkling water or soda, that dehydrates the body. So, and believe me, I relate to this because I had a period in my life where all I was drinking was coffee and Diet Coke. It was like the worst. So basically that's depleting your body of the water that it needs. And if you don't have water, you definitely get sick. So making sure that you're drinking water, check in with the water quality in your area. In some places, tap water may be okay. But there's lots of options. You can go and get, healthier water at a natural grocery store that you just have with you in your hotel room or, wherever it is that you're staying. Another option is they have these awesome water bottles that have like a filter built in. So, you can fill up with tap water and then just know that it's going to be better quality. So I think that's really important because if you aren't hydrated, you literally will get sick. And not only that, but be in a stress state. And I find that a lot of people, if they have a headache and they'll take Advil, what do? You take it with a glass of water. A lot of times it's the water that's helping just as much as the painkiller.
No, that's a really good point. And in fact, a story to just back up what you're saying. One time I was shooting a gig for Marriott down in Mexico, and we had a model with us, and she was she was a younger model. She'd been working with a lot of my friends who were photographers and videographers, and everyone said, like, well, we recommend her, she always looks good on camera. She does what you want. Well, we took her down to Mexico, and there was probably a crew of 7 or 8 of us. We're all drinking water, offering her water all the time. She looks just super beet red. And, finally, like throughout the day, on the second day, she's like, I just need to go back and take a nap. And like the director of marketing at Marriott is like, honey, you just need to drink water. Like, this is all you need to do. And she would not take direction from any of us. And I will say that, like, and I'm not trying to, Joan on the girl very bad, but the marketing director was very clear. I mean, like, if she would have just listened to us and the people walking around trying to hydrate her, we would have been able to get so much more done. And I got called back on that same set for another shoot, but she didn't. So it goes to show that dehydration can even cause career damage if you're not focused and paying attention to how much you're drinking. And I feel bad for the girl, but at the same time, when you've got 7, 8 people telling you to drink water and you're not doing it, you can't do your job, what does that say about your ability to handle work, let alone your ability to handle yourself,
Yeah.
So,
totally. Yeah. It's damaging in many different areas.
I'm not trying to like throw her under the bus, but it's like, if you really don't pay attention to yourself, it can affect so many more things. And that's kind of the point, because a lot of people are probably like, why are we listening to, Laura, and why are we listening about health? Guys, it's so important, because so often we get fixated on the job at hand and the pre-flight checklist and the airspace maps and our cameras and our batteries are charged. And I have to say, like, I have learned this the hard way. And Laura, I'm so happy you're on the show, because for you guys, you don't have to learn the hard way. I'm sure these are things that your mom has probably been telling you for ages, but Laura is sitting here and she is giving you the advice that you need. And it's just to remind you, we're all human. We all forget. But if you try to take these pieces of information and create habits out of it, you're going to be off to a good start. Would you agree?
Yeah, totally. I know it can seem overwhelming, and I'd say focus on 1 or 2 things to get you started, and then gradually make other changes. Like, I mean, I literally in college, my breakfast was like a diet soda and a chocolate bar. I mean, that is pretty terrible, and I've come a long way. Like, I'm so much healthier now. And
so what's your breakfast now? I want to know what your breakfast is now.
So I eat very clean, like paleo. It's difficult traveling in terms of finding quality meats, but it's usually grass-fed if I can get it, meats and vegetables. I often will drink bone broth first thing in the morning, and then maybe munch on some nuts, some healthy nuts.
Gotcha.
Yeah, so
you said bone broth?
What?
Bone broth?
Yeah, bone broth. Here I have some I can show you. And by the way, this is not like product placement or anything. It's just like what I happen to have. But like you can buy it in like containers and it's pre-made. I mean, you can make your own too, but that's obviously a lot of effort. And basically, it's different than the meat broth because it uses the bones, and there's very healthy things in bones themselves. There's a lot of collagen, for example, which is really good for healing the digestive system as well as like healthy bones and tissues.
Wow, very interesting. I've never heard about that before. So I'm like, whoa, always learning something new, It's funny because everyone has, different things that they do, and it's really interesting for me to learn about what people, their habits and their routines, because when you learn what successful people do, it's just fascinating,
Yeah. And collagen in particular is something that I think is very beneficial. So I know one of the big popular things right now is collagen protein, which I sometimes also get. So you can purchase collagen in a powder form that you can put in your coffee. Some people do that. You can, drink it in a smoothie or even just with water and, some powdered greens or something. But it's very high protein. So just a teaspoon or so has like about 10 grams of protein in it. So that's a great thing to do too if you just need if you're not getting enough protein, and also if you want to help heal your system.
Wow, very cool, Laura. Well, is there anything else that you want to leave with the audience here at Ask a Drone U? Any other tips and tricks on traveling? And it's funny, guys, because Laura is traveling right now. She's at South by Southwest, so she's literally talking from experience, which is what we like here at Drone U. So, Laura, anything else you want to leave us with?
Yeah, just in terms of specific thing to avoid. So I've mentioned fast food in general, but processed meats are really bad. So I just learned this recently, actually, that they are class 1 carcinogen. So they are right up there with cigarettes and like asbestos.
Wow.
So I'm kind of amazed, that this isn't more publicly known, because there is research on this, and there's a new movie coming out, What the Health, where they talk about it. So if you want to check that out, you can get more details. But basically, so lunch meat, deli meat, packaged hot dogs,
cancer
like
sticks
that.
have a new meaning. Is that what you're trying to say?
Yeah, totally. Yeah. Well, again, it's just, we know now at this point that cigarettes are not healthy, but I think most people are eating, a hot dog or a deli meat sandwich and not really thinking much about it, but it has a very big impact on like cancer.
Yeah, that's crazy. That's actually one thing I like about charqui is that there are no nitrates in it, so no chemicals. And one thing I've actually realized, and people call me really weird, especially when we travel to other places and do trainings, I'm always searching for nitrate-free bacon. Because seriously, bacon is so good, and nitrate-free means it's chemical-free, so that makes me happy. And
Right.
I think it tastes better, to be honest with you. I really do. Like, I think nitrate-free meats taste a lot better.
Yeah, I agree. I think the preservatives and the things that we do just aren't natural. And a lot of times our bodies don't know what to do with them. And anything that preserves in that way it's like, it's doing that in our body too. Like we're not meant to eat things that are meant to be preservatives, because then we process that in it, it's coming into our body. It's not just like staying in the food.
Yeah, no, it's definitely a problem. So Laura, if we wanted to get to know you a little bit more, if we wanted to find out more about health, where can we go to get that information?
Awesome. Yeah. So for my sort of health and spirituality, meditation type stuff, you can go to my website, healingpowers.net. And for more information on my traveling and business stuff, it's powershour.biz.
Awesome. Well, Laura, thank you so much for your time. We really do appreciate it. I appreciate having you on the show. This information is incredible.
Oh, thank you so much for having me. It's always a pleasure to talk with you.
Definitely. Well, guys, that is going to do it for us today. Hope you found some useful information out of that. Remember, health is equivalent to wealth. If you don't believe that, you really need to focus on your body, because you don't want to be the guy who works super hard, creates this amazing business empire, and then you have a heart attack and die, and there's your family, and everything you work for is what have you worked for? So focus on health, focus on yourself. That way you can truly enjoy life more. Laura has done an amazing job really showing us how we get there. And it's really simple. It's just about creating habits. We've all created these environmental habits of going to McDonald's and eating at Subway thinking it's the healthy option on the road. But just a simple prep and some planning and good information from Laura will do wonders for us all. Laura, thank you again very much. Really appreciate it. And guys, that's going to do it for us today here, the Ask Drone U podcast.